you know, it's on TV screens. So you really realize with all the places you went to, I didn't really quite remarkable. You went to London, you went to Ireland, you went to all, I mean, that was a pretty big production.
Yeah, we actually shot the film in 5 countries, so it was definitely a daunting undertaking. When he wrote the script, I'm not sure if Owen himself kind of pictured it as being such a big production.
In Hollywood, I mean, it's you know, really, usually you wouldn't, I mean, a lot of film wouldn't, you know, just go one spot and then fill in, but really for those places you were going to, it needed the, it expanded the story, and it gave it more depth.
Well, I tried to write within reason, because my plan was I'd make it myself if nobody else wanted to make it with me, and obviously that would have been a completely different film. There would have been no Ravi Patel and a lot of other things that would have been, you know, cut out of it. But I just wrote the story that really happened to me and really happened to a lot of people, and it was a worldwide scam, so it had to be a worldwide film.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, I was thinking about this, and I think you and I spoke about it a little bit earlier, that having had that happen to you, having been scammed, I know, you know, red thing where people get scammed, you know, it's a really embarrassing thing, and for many different reasons. But you were able to take it and write it and then make it into a film. Was that cathartic? Was it difficult to go through those memories again? And then when you're filming and playing yourself, the character, because I mean it's you, but it's still it's on screen, so it becomes a bit of a character. Was that difficult, or was it?
Yeah, I mean during the writing process and the many drafts that I put into it, writing it was definitely cathartic, and maybe found myself bleeding and crying onto the keyboard on a couple of occasions. But by the time we were shooting it, I was over that, and I just couldn't believe that we were actually making the film. And I remember I turned to Tom when we were in Indonesia on the boat, on the ferry, shooting the ferry scene, and I looked at the date, and it was 4 years to the day exactly that had happened, that we were shooting the scene on the ferry. So there was this really sort of fated feel to it, and yeah, by that time I was over it. You know, I didn't need to talk to a psychiatrist or anything like that. It was, you know, I was getting it out through playing it and through reliving it as we shot it. So.
And at the end, you became a hero because you were the first person that really went after this person. You know, through people, the FBI agent, the agent for the security firm, saying, "Come on, go out and do it." And you said, you know, by that time you were just, you know, horrified by what happened. Your life was over, so you chose that path. And now, because of that, this guy's in jail, or you, as you said, he's been trying to be extradited to the U.S. And these other people felt a sense of relief that they got some justice from it.
Well, I can't take credit for everything. It's a victim story, and that's why it's not Owen O'Brien on the screen, it's Ryan Owens, because I had to incorporate aspects from other victims. So I believe it was a female Instagrammer who first put the story out onto the web, and then it went viral. It was Jay, who plays Jay in the film, Mike Swick. He's a UFC former championship contender. He was the guy who hired the private investigator who found the passport photo that eventually helped the FBI positively identify who this person really was. So my story that you see on the screen, like the first 2 acts up until the low point where I have to escape from Jakarta, that all is like pretty much exactly what happened to me. But I was able to, and I needed to, incorporate experiences from other victims to tell the full story of the Hollywood con queen, because you know, it wasn't just me. I'm not the one responsible for tracking them down. It was very much a team effort of private investigators and the FBI and all the victims who did speak out. Because when it first happened to me, obviously, as you see on screen, the first thing I'm thinking about is those videos, those casting, those sexy moments that if anybody saw, if I even saw those videos, I would probably die of cringe, of embarrassment. But I had to speak out, and through the film I spoke out. But very much what happened to Ryan on screen was a combination of all victims.
Yeah. And when you were when you took over as a production, when you first saw it, was it, I mean, they show how it came to the directors, but when you were chosen to direct it, had you any knowledge of this person?
Yeah, so I'd come across the scam through the DP, Wade Muller. He'd actually been contacted by the con queen to go shoot a film in Indonesia, and so he actually almost got on the flight. He booked the flight and was going to go there. And so he actually used my name in an email. The company used my name and said, hey, this actor, you know, we got a, basically they were referring to my previous films and said, yeah, we saw a clip of you in the cave and Tom recommended you for this role. So he actually used my name and company in emails to other people. So to come back to me and I said, listen guys, it's a scam. Like I don't know this guy, never met him. And so he'd kind of been through IMDb and kind of went through systematically and looked at people who weren't necessarily lead actors in the film, but like, for example, you've been in my previous film and he's sort of gone down the list and went, all right, these are the supporting roles, let's hit those guys. Especially in Southeast Asia, he seemed to target quite a lot of actors who are working in Southeast Asia. So you see Miles on screen as well, who's the character who comes in at the end, the director character at the end. He was also scammed, and he thought he was having sex with Donald Langley on the laptop. So, in fact, he actually prepared a lawsuit against Universal, thinking that it was the real Donald Langley, and the legal department said, actually, yeah, refer to this Hollywood Reporter article, it's not real, it's not really Donald Langley. But yeah, I absolutely had come across the scam. So when Owen told me it had happened to him, I was kind of intrigued to read the script, and you didn't come to me with the script until draft 5 or something, yeah, so he worked on it a lot, and it was in pretty good shape, and we went in the end to draft 10 or something, right? 10.7. So what you see on screen was basically a lot of hard work on Owen's part to get the script to where it was before I even came to it. So when I got to it, it was in pretty good shape, and I said, let's try and make this film. And of course, he said, I want to go shop it around a little bit, so he took it to Netflix and other people.
Yeah, not only that, I had some other producers in Ireland that was interested in it, and I shared it with a very big company in Thailand, but I won't say their name. But the producer, the boss of the company read the script, and he liked it, and he said, oh, and hold on a second. I think I know this guy. And in fact, I've been to Jakarta twice with this guy, developing my passion project, and he was taking notes from the Con Queen and didn't realize that he had actually gone to Jakarta twice and met the Con Queen in person. This is a random producer I'm sharing the script with, so he really was a prolific worker, and he worked on as many victims as possible, multiple in one day. Our stunt coordinator went to Jakarta in 2016. He was still meeting people in person. He cast for a part in fake Mulan. Several of the people you see in our victim montage were real victims. Our cameraman, Tom, Miles, we were all kissed by the Con Queen, so it was all very real for us, and on all a film we really had to make.
That's amazing, that's amazing. Do we have any questions? Because it's getting late here. Does anyone have any questions? Here, let me bring the mic over. Okay, let me help her out. I'll be right there.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the casting process and how did you guys found Con Queen?
Yeah, so Ravi Patel did a great job as the Con Queen. I was so glad that we got him in the end. But we actually went to a few other Patels as well. So Dev Patel, I think, was first on the list, and then we went to Hamish Patel. So none of the other Patels were available, but Ravi was. We went to some Indian comedians as well. We tried to find someone whose heritage was Indian, because the real character, his heritage, he's Indonesian, but he has Indian heritage. So the casting process, I guess, took actually months. We waited out for the best person to play Con Queen. So we'd actually shot the rest of the film before, all the other scenes were shot already before the Con Queen did his role. And we ended up going to Nashville to shoot the Con Queen, to shoot Ravi, because that's where he's from. And he said, hey guys, if you could come to Nashville, I'll be in the film. And I think the wife didn't want him going to Bangkok, so.
Well, we cast me first as Ryan.
That was the deal.
That was the deal. Tom said, you go with me, I'll go with you. We back each other, we make this film, we jump out of the airplane, and we make the film. And it just gets made, and we just say we're going to do it, and we do it. And within 8 months, he had the finance found magically, and we were on set in December 2022, shooting the Bangkok block. And then we cast these lovely ladies in their part for the Bangkok part.
Yeah.
And you lovely ladies did a great job. I really enjoyed working these guys.
Sorry, what was the question?
How was the shoot? How did it work for both of you? How did you?
Oh, it was so much fun. First off, having the opportunity to obviously be flown to Thailand and Bangkok and to shoot out there, and the hospitality, the Thai hospitality is unmatched. But getting into the role of Tanya was really fun. I remember when Tom first initially sent me the script, what I really loved about her character was that she kind of didn't have this like love storyline, and she was very independent on her own and knew how to carry her own story and kind of was there for her own proper reasons. And I just really loved that they created such a strong female character in that sense.
And you got to ride in a little motorcycle chase.
Yeah, which was so, okay, that was my first action scene. It felt really badass, so thanks for giving me that opportunity, because, yeah, using the fire extinguisher was, definitely the highlight of my trip.
You had to get the purse?
Yeah, oh, no, fire extinguisher first.
Okay.
And then it was with my purse on the motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it felt really good. All the female angst just let out.
And how about?
Oh, I loved being part of this film. It was so fun. I'm half Thai, so I kind of go back and forth between the States and Thailand. And I always love when I'm in Thailand, and to be part of this was amazing. And there were some days where I wasn't shooting. My days were sort of spread out a little bit more. And you know, you had a block of shooting days. But I would come to set to watch just because it was such a fun environment. I mean, Tom's an excellent director, and I just loved being part of it and watching it and just seeing everyone.
Read the concrete.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, you started a question? Yes. Okay.
How long was the total shoot?
5 different blocks, so 23 days in Bangkok.
First 23 days, block 1 in Bangkok, and then 5 days in Indonesia, second, about 5 days in Nashville, third, and 2 days in Ireland. 3 days in Ireland.
Well, that's a pretty fast shoot for all the.
But it was spread out, so it was spread out over months, because we were waiting for casting as well. Also, the dad, I think, is great in the film. Patrick Bergen
he's
plays
great.
Owen's dad in the film.
Yeah,
Ryan
he's
was his dad in the film.
That was a nice scene, you know, I forgot about that because it was a few months ago I watched it, and I forgot about that, and I thought, oh, I forgot about this, that's a great scene with your dad and you going out, and obviously you owed these bad guys money, and it got resolved.
Yeah, I mean, also for the casting for that role, we also went to, we met with Stephen Ray, we had meetings with other actors, and in the end, I have a house in Tipperary, and actually Patrick Bergen lives down the road from me, so we managed to get him in the film at the end. So it was great. So casting is a whole, you know, it's a process that we did ourselves. We basically did the casting ourselves. There's no casting director on the film, so we went to backstage. That's how we found Sophia. I'd actually bumped into in Cannes. We met on a boat in Cannes randomly a couple of years ago. Then she went on to backstage and she applied like everyone else, and she went through the whole screening process. And eventually, when producers all sat around on the shortlist, and we decided she was the best person for the role. But it's the networking that happens at festivals like this. I think is really important. And you could be talking to a director at some event, and the next thing you're in their movie. So I think that happens. I mean, that's where you find the talent.
It's funny, talk about Cannes, there's a film screening right next door called Seance. I was standing around at this last May's Cannes, and there was a guy standing next to me. Well, I'm a producer, I've got a lady that's got this film, and he was from another country, and he said, would you guys have her submit it? And why not? Because just standing in line waiting for
Well, getting into a festival is another whole different
Well,
ballgame.
unfortunately, because I'm with a festival, I can get effective, but you're right.
Yeah, I mean, we had 100 film festivals rejected this film before we were accepted to
Really?
Sunscreen, in April. Like 100 film festival applications.
I wonder why.
I guess they didn't watch it because there's so many films being made. It's harder and harder to get any meaningful distribution for films these days, and it's hard to get into A-list festivals if you don't have a connection to the programmer or the festival director. It's really hard to get seen.
In this case, he didn't. We just, you know.
Well, no, that's actually incorrect. I knew here with the film before. The only reason we got into the festival, I think, is because I bumped into Greg at Galway, and he was like, "Oh yeah."
So we were, okay, I'll tell you this then. The programmers who watch it and give the green light, we green lighted it, so without any pressure from Greg.
Oh, no, thank you so much.
So there was no pressure on us.
No, no,
We just like, no, I don't mean that. I was trying to be humorous. But it was, we liked the film. Because of its depth, good story, topical story, and you threw the action in with the fighting and all that, so you have a lot of combinations to make for a popular film.
By the way, I just want to give a mention to people in the audience who are part of the film as well. We have David Clark, who plays the director of the film. Jeremy Hawkins, my exec producer, who's here, with his family. Sharon, who's a stylist on the film. She did the great makeup for Patrick's black eye. Where's Sharon? Is she in the room? Yeah, she's in the back. Yeah. Zed Moore from Ireland, who plays one of the thugs. There he is over there. So, and anyone else I missed out, I just wanted, because this is for us, any other producers who are here. Anyway, yeah, are there any other questions?
Any other questions, because we're gonna have to wrap this up. Yes?
So if you choose to $1 million, did any of the victims get their money back?
We don't know what's happened to the money because he was arrested in the UK by the UK police with the FBI joint sort of mission, so the money may have been frozen. We think he was spending a lot of it on his lavish foodfluencer lifestyle that he was developing over there. And so he hasn't been extradited yet, so there could be a class action lawsuit, but who knows how much is left. I'm not expecting to get a single penny of any of it.
Are you gonna sue?
I will sue him if I can, yeah, if we throw in on that, I'll gladly sue, but yeah, the 2.4, that's an estimate. It could be more, it could be less. A lot of people never came forward. A lot of people were too ashamed. And I was ashamed at the start, and I was going to come forward. But then his MO was to always get 2 references. Can you reference somebody else for another job? And that's probably how I was put on his radar. And then the morning I get back from Bangkok, another guy is calling me and said, "Yeah, I just had a talk with a Hollywood producer. I think it was you. Thanks a lot." I was like, oh, God. He said, "It really went great. I was talking to her for about 2 hours, but at the end of the call, I think she started masturbating." And I was like, "Sorry, dude, that was honestly Hollywood." He said, "I wish you would have told me last night." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I was trying to escape from Jakarta, so I'm telling you now." Any other questions?
Yeah.
First of all, I think you're incredibly courageous to have gone through that to the public and to actually make this film where you're out there in front of everyone. So I'm really impressed. You really ended up being a real life hero in that sense. So I really respect that. This is just a small question. Did you shoot at any of the actual locations where you were originally?
Yeah, I mean,
When this all happened?
All of the scenic places in Indonesia, I was actually there. We were actually on that ferry going to Sumatra. He sent me to Sumatra. I think his plan was to make me miss the meeting back in Jakarta. But then when I dragged your man onto an express ferry back, he realized I was going to make the meeting and then had to come up with a bullshit excuse on the fly about, oh, now people are wondering why they should shoot with you and that, you know, they don't want to shoot with you. And that didn't make any sense to me at all. So at that point, I knew the gig was up. I knew it was a scam. It was still 1% of me thinking, what if it really is? So that's why when she was like, "Can you give me a kiss?" I was still, mwah. I still blew the kiss. But yeah, we shot in all the locations that we really went to. And as I said, it was 4 years exactly to the time it happened. So.
Well, thank goodness you got out, so that you guys are back, you had a movie, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.
One lady over there.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more.
Really urgent question.
How accurate was the level of violence? When you get to the end, it becomes quite violent. Was that enhanced for?
That was enhanced for the cinema, but I came from action cinema, so I stayed true to those roots. But Mike, who you see when he calls me the next morning and he has to choke the guy and get out of the car and beat the guy, that really happened to him. So as I said, everything may not have happened to me, but it happened to some of the victims. I didn't get to kick their ass, unfortunately, on the way out. I just escaped. But other people did, and Mike says he'll never go back to Indonesia again because he broke too many laws and had to fight his way out of there, and he's scared to go back there now.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much.